Hi guys, it's Thomas Wilson, back again with another video tutorial for you guys. Again, we're going over Photoshop basics. Today I'm going to talk to you about where in the heck everything is. Alright, so in the last one we talked about opening a new document, and now we kind of went through the menu and showed you where the filters and all that other good stuff was. We are going to go over now some of the other parts of this whole Photoshop window that we're going to be working in. And a lot of this stuff, it can change. You can actually move these things around and place them where you're more comfortable. But I tend to work in the default space. If you happen to want to change to any of these presets, you can choose a workspace for specific things. And you can create your own from scratch if you want, in adding some of these windows and options in, and you can also change them around to where you want over here in your arrange and extensions and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's where you can change where some of these tools are and what tools are available right upon opening. So for your basic setup, the default, your tools are going to be over here to the left. I like to have mine all in one row so I don't get confused in trying to find where stuff is. But all of these tools that have this little triangle in the corner, if you guys can see those, that means that there are other options for that tool, and you access those by clicking and holding down, and you get your other options for those specific tools. So I'll just go through a few of these so you can see what they are and where they are. Some of the more popular ones, the healing brush. I went through your lassos, your multiple lassos, your dodging and burning, sharpness, blur. We've got our tools and our color selections over here, and you can either type in if you happen to have your hex codes or know your CMYK RGB elements. That's always awesome to be able to type things in. You can also add your colors to your swatches or choose from a color library. If you happen to want to use Pantones and so on and so forth. See, in here we have only web colors. Like I said, when we're dealing in certain color spaces, then we want to make sure that we get things that are accurate for what we're trying to work on, or what the destination is going to be. So there's that. And we also have over here some other spaces for adjustments and so on and so forth that are going to allow us to work a bit better when it comes to working on images and so on and so forth. So here is our history, and anything that we do in Photoshop, we can see what it was and work our way backwards to go back to whatever that state was. Alright, so you see I screwed around and hit the text tool, so I ended up getting rid of that. Know that anytime that you work backwards, once you go back a few steps and you start doing other things, it removes those other steps that you made in the history. So be sure that you want to do whatever it is that you want to do when you're dealing with your history. You also have what are called actions. I know you've probably seen them all over the internet. There are certain steps, physical steps that are done in Photoshop to give you results. There are a lot of things that are default in Photoshop, and then there are others that you can download and install. Any of these panels that we open in, If you've got these two arrows, that minimizes what you're working in. It makes it go away. To kind of clear up some workspace for you so you don't have things hanging out all over the place. In dealing with your brushes, just the regular brushes, not anything super crazy, but you can adjust your brush presets and stuff here. That's changing the way that your brushes look, and again, you use that in tandem with our colors over here to do things to these individually. But if you have questions, there's help right here. There's also help in Google searching and asking questions. So yeah, you have that. Your adjustments and stuff right here. These are they're a bit more helpful when you're dealing with photographs and maybe some designs, like some vector designs and stuff like that that happen to be brought in. And that allows you to edit things dealing with contrast and saturation and image brightness and so on and so forth. Things that you can do in other programs, especially for us photographers out here that deal with Lightroom or Capture One or whatever the case is. We typically do that type of work in those programs and then just bring things over here for the heavy lifting. But just for the sake of showing you guys where those things are, you can get to them either here or through our menu, image, adjustments, and then a lot of those same things that were over there that we were just looking at are here. Here is our layer panel. One of the great things that I love about Photoshop is the thing to be able to work in layers. So not only can you be non-destructive, as in if I'm doing some work on something, I can reverse it so I'm not making permanent changes to whatever it is that I'm working on. But in working with layers, that allows me to be able to turn things on and off so they can be seen and affected differently. So now that you see me make a new layer, these are our layer options here for different things that we want to do. When you make a new layer, if you double click on this text here, it allows you, if my computer will catch up here, there we go. It'll allow you to change our text. So I've changed the label for this layer. Let's say I wanted this to be the background. And you're doing multiple layers that have multiple things going on with them. You just change it up. If you have a layer that's locked, you can double click on that layer, especially if it's the first one that you deal with, and unlock it by changing some of the characteristics. This is changing this from our initial background layer to, let's say, I'm going to put a pattern on this layer. All right. So there are different things that you can do in dealing with your patterns. Sorry, not patterns. In dealing with your layers. So if you double click to the right of your labels, whatever they happen to be, or you go down here to FX, it will give you layer styles. All right, and on your layer styles, you can do a bunch of things. Color overlays and patterns and a lot of the funky things that you see people toy around with when creating flyers and composites and all types of stuff. All right, so that's how you access your layer styles. All right, so what we're gonna do, since we have our two layers here, and I've got this one labeled pattern, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to use a layer style. All right, so we are going to check our pattern here. All right, and anytime that we're working with a layer that's visible, that has the eye clicked, it's going to allow us to preview what it is that we've got going on here. All right, so the patterns work the same way that the colors work, where you can add things and work with different presets and so on and so forth. If you happen to want to change the preset that you're working with, this gear here, if you click that, you have a list of presets, just like we had with our actions and our brushes and a lot of other things. Or we can download some and load them. There's tons of different things that we can do. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add some rocks here. All right, so this is a good opportunity to talk about adding things to our preset menus. Again, whether it be our brushes or whatever the case is, appending your presets means adding whatever preset you've chosen to what's already available. All right? If you hit just OK, then it's going to replace the ones that you're working with your presets. I'm going to choose append so you can see what it does. See, we already had these available and it just added this new set to it. All right, so we're just going to throw some rocks down here. All right, so we can change the size of the pattern that we've instilled here with the scale. And our blending modes, well, I'll have a separate one on blending mode, so I'm not going to go through that now. But it allows you to change a lot of things. And we've changed that white background that we had to a rock background. All right, and if you ever want to turn that thing off without having to undo all the work that you did, again, just click the eye. So if you tap that eye again, it brings it back. And if you have multiple layer styles that you've done, you can turn off individual ones just by clicking that eye by that specific one. All right? So we've gone over where our tools are, where our menus are, and where our adjustments and other panels are. All right? And like I said, we can change any of these by choosing a new workspace, by just adding to the workspace that we're working in by clicking one of these things. So, just for an example, we'll click our swatches, and it expanded where the swatches are, shows us where they are. We hit the double arrows to make things go out or come in. And we can also change our workspaces here. All right.